Hi, I'm Pastor Dave with Declaration Church, and today I've been thinking a lot about times that I've been given something that I need to do, some task that I have really no idea how to do it. And I don't know if you've ever been in a situation like that where someone came up to you, your boss, a parent, someone came up to you and said, "Hey, I need you to do this." And you had no idea what you were doing. And I've had that happen to me a couple of times in my life, most of the time related to my profession. My boss would come up to me and say, "Hey, I need you to do this." One time I remember we had a gentleman who was working for the company I was working with, and he quit. And he was the one that made all the vinyl signs. And so my boss came to me and said, "I need you to do this." And I'd never done it before. I didn't have any idea how it worked. He took me back there, showed me the computer we used, opened up the program, told me that's what we use, and he let me go. And he said, "Here, practice using some of this stuff here, figure it out, and then we need to get this done by next week." And it was just so difficult because I'm looking at this stuff and I've never used it before. I've never touched it before. I've never done anything with any of this before. And now I'm just tasked with learning it on my own and figuring it out. And so I had the book and I had all this different stuff to work with. And I just started practicing. I started making signs, printing it off, testing, laying things out, trying to figure out how it all worked. I talked to a couple of other people who had done some of it before. And I just really did everything I could possibly do to try and learn and make it work. That's usually how I just try to figure stuff out. When situations like that, I try to be kind of a self-starter, a self-teacher, self-learner. And not everybody is like that. Not all of us are wired that way. But it worked out in the end. It ended up working out just fine. And so I was able to learn what I needed to learn in order to do the task that he had given me. But it was overwhelming at first because I'm going from zero and I need to be at production level in less than a week. And so it was so interesting and so difficult and so stressful being given some kind of huge task that I had no idea how to do and had never done before. And maybe you've been in a situation like that before. And maybe, honestly, when you're reading through scripture and you come across some stuff, maybe you encounter some things that you recognize you're supposed to do that you're not sure you can get that done either. And I've seen this look on people's faces before. I've talked to people about this before where they feel overwhelmed. They feel ill-equipped. They feel completely incapable, unskilled of doing something that they have now been tasked with doing. And one of those is found in Ephesians. And I want to read Ephesians chapter 3, verse 7, because it's really kind of an important piece. But before we do that, I want to look at Ephesians chapter 4. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 11 is where we're going to start. And Paul is writing to the church in Ephesus, and he writes this. He says, "And he being Jesus gave the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the shepherds, and the teachers to equip the saints for the work of ministry, for building up the body of Christ." It's Ephesians 4, 11 and 12. And so when you read that, you think, oh my goodness, the saints, they've got ministry to do. So you've got these 5 gifts, these 5 groups of people, really, the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, shepherds, teachers. This is a conglomeration of groups of people who have been gifted with talents and abilities to allow them to do some task. And they're supposed to equip the saints. So you might look at a situation like that. You might read a passage like that and you think, I'm glad I'm not a saint. Because they have ministry to do. They need to be equipped for the work of the ministry, and I don't want to do any work of ministry. That's tough. I've seen how that works. I'm glad that's not me. If that's you, this might come as some overwhelming, difficult news to take. If you are following Jesus, if you have committed your life to him, if you have received the gift of salvation through Jesus and his sacrificial death, burial, and resurrection, if you're a part of God's kingdom, you are a saint. That's what the Bible teaches. That's what the New Testament teaches us. We have this idea a lot of times culturally that a saint is just somebody who, maybe not perfect, but they do almost everything right. They are constantly good. They're doing the right thing. They're helping other people all the time. They're just the best people in the world. And since I'm not one of those, and I make a lot of mistakes, and I know I'm not a saint, and maybe you've heard somebody say, I'm no saint. It's something that we say all the time as people. And yet, inside the church, the reality is if you're a follower of Jesus, if you are a disciple of Jesus, you are, according to the Bible, a saint. So what does that mean for you then? What does that mean for all of us? It means that we are ministers. We have been called to ministry. And so now, if you're just coming to that realization for the first time, it's possible that you are sitting there watching this video thinking, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. The Great Commission is overwhelming enough to find out that you've been called to ministry and you're supposed to be doing some kind of ministry in the world. And you're not equipped for this. You're not wired for this. You don't have the energy. You don't have anything that you need to make this work. And I can totally understand that. I've totally been there. And sometimes I get there even now. But the truth is that God has never called you to anything that he will not or has not equipped you to accomplish. God created you for a purpose. He created you for a reason. He wired you up and he gifted you. He gave you talents and abilities in order to prepare you for the work of ministry that he created for you. Because he knew in advance when he made you exactly what he wanted you to accomplish. So he's already given you all of the raw materials you need. And now we know from Ephesians chapter 4 that he's given the apostles, the prophets, the shepherds, the evangelists, the teachers, in order to help equip you, give you the tools, along with those raw materials, to actually do the ministry to which you've been called, to accomplish that amazing goal. He's already gifted you and provided the tools and the training you need to get it done. But there's more still. Even if that is not enough to completely alleviate your fear, here is the truth from Ephesians chapter 3, verse 7, according to Paul. He says, of this gospel, this good news, this great message about Jesus and what he's done for all of us, I was made a minister. So he knows what his calling is. He knows what his ministry is. According to the gift of God's grace. So our calling and our ministry is a gift. And God's grace is a gift, which was given me by the working of his power. This ministry, the grace that I need, has been given to me according to the working of his power. It's God's power that actually allows us to accomplish and actually equips us to accomplish the ministry that we've been called to do. Everything he has provided is enough to get the job done. He has called you to ministry. He has equipped you with gifts and talents and abilities to do the work of the ministry. He has given you trainers and teachers to help equip you with the training you need to use the tools and the raw materials that he's given you to complete the work of the ministry that he's called you to. And now he's given you access to his power to actually complete the work of the ministry to which you've been called. Everything you need has already been provided for you. It's like one of those meal kits that you get in the mail where all the ingredients and all the instructions and everything you need, but the actual pans and oven and everything are right there. And all you have to do is follow the instructions and use what you've been given. And God has done that for the work of the ministry to which you've been called. And so I want to encourage you and challenge you to discover what that is. What has God called you to do? Who has God called you to be? They're connected. What God's called you to do comes out of naturally who he's created you to be. What has he done? What has he made you to be? Who has he made you to be? He's given you the power. He's given you everything you need to accomplish the work of the ministry. So go out, discover what that is, and start living that life. Go do the work of the ministry to which you've been called and change the world around you. Change the community around you. Change the people around you with the gospel of Jesus Christ and the power that he has given you to do that, so that the world becomes a better place as people discover the love of God that he has for them, just as you've discovered the love of God that he has for you. You have a purpose. You have a place. You have power. Live in that. I hope that's encouraging and challenging to you today. And if it is, go ahead and smash the like button. Give this video a like. Subscribe to the channel so that you and I can continue to walk through this discipleship life together on the road of discipleship, this journey of following Jesus. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of that with you today. Let's continue to walk together as we go forward. As always, I'm Pastor David, and I'm out.